Here's a rundown of some of the stories that we are working on. Next, his death has sparked outrage across the country. So what does Trayvon Martin's story mean for other African-American teens? Then Ashton Kutcher, he has conquered the Twitterverse. Now he wants to take on outer space. Yep, that's right. And later, the supermarkets that call it lean, finely textured beef. Everybody else is calling it pink slime. The shooting death of Trayvon Martin, an unarmed black teenager, hits close to home for many African-American families. Black parents are often fearful for their children, particularly boys. Some prepare them with instructions about how to react if stopped by police, even how to behave in public. Corey Dave is a national correspondent at NPR, and he posted an article today about this very subject at the NPR website. He's joining us from Washington. Corey, good to see you. And joining us from New York, blogger Michael Skolnick. Now, he's written a powerful article on his blog, globalgrind.com, entitled White Guy in a Hoodie. And his position is that white people, even wearing hoodies, quote, never look suspicious. So, Corey, I want to start off with you because you wrote this very powerful article, and you say that your parents gave you the talk, if you will, when you were growing up, a list of things that as a black man you should never do. And you outline this. You say never loiter outside anywhere, never leave a store without a shopping bag, never go anywhere alone, never talk back to police, and never doubt that trouble may strike anytime, anywhere. Corey, why did you get that talk? Why did they tell you that?
Well, I think part of it was informed by my parents' upbringing. My father was raised in the segregated South. My mother was raised in the Midwest in an integrated environment, but she still experienced racism. So coming to Washington, D.C., it was at a time when I grew up, born and raised in Washington, D.C., about a mile outside the city. It came at a time when the murder rate in D.C. was the highest in the nation. Crack epidemic was just sweeping that city and many other urban cities. And so there were all these challenges. On top of that, you also had perceptions out there. And the rule, the sort of golden rule that my parents gave me was that I have to essentially control for other people's perceptions of me. And that's sort of where it started.
And Corey, did you ever have any problems? Were you ever confronted by police or neighbors or people who felt you were suspicious when you grew up?
I was a quote-unquote normal kid, had a normal experience. I was comfortable in many different racially mixed environments, but I certainly had my run-ins with police. I've been stopped because I fit the description of a suspect they were looking for. I tell the story, the account in my story about my brother being descended upon by police officers because he was at his car in a subdivision where we were visiting, and the circumstances there were much like or similar to Trayvon Martin's circumstances. But you name it, being suspicious as a customer in a store, being suspicious in an elevator, seeing a woman sort of grab her purse a little bit tighter just as soon as I stepped on.
Corey, I want to bring in Michael Skolnick. Michael, in your blog, you describe a very different experience as a white person, and you write here, I will never look suspicious, even if I have a black hoodie, a pair of jeans, and white sneakers on. No matter how much the hoodie covers my face or how baggy my jeans are, I will never look out of place to you. Why do you suppose that you're given the benefit of the doubt?
Well, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt because of the color of my skin. I think what Corey's saying, I wore a black hoodie and a pair of jeans and white and white sneakers on Sunday, walking around New York City, and I could put my hand down, a taxi cab will stop. I can walk in the street, and no woman would ever grab their purse in fear of me. I could go to a restaurant, and no one's going to ask me to pay before I eat. Trayvon Martin had the same outfit that I had on, a hoodie, a pair of jeans, and a pair of white sneakers. It wasn't about what he wore. It's about the color of his skin. No one will ever stop me as I'm walking through the neighborhood, no matter what I have on, and say, what are you doing here? No one will ever call 911 and say, he looks suspicious. So I wrote this piece challenging my people, white people, that we have a choice. I was given a hand, and the card came out of the deck, and I came out a white man in America. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not guilty of it. That's what I got. But I do have a choice. And my choice is to stand up for Trayvon Martin and say his death will affect me. If I'm quiet, 2 weeks ago, My white colleagues and my white friends were ferocious about tweeting about Joseph Kony and the Stop Kony movement, which is a great movement.
Right.
But just 4 days ago, we were quiet, and I don't want to be quiet.
Well, Michael, how do you take the burden off of someone like Corey? Because, you know, Corey and many others are saying, look, the burden's on us to alter our behavior, to act slightly differently, you know, to make sure, reassure people that they're okay in the neighborhood. How do you put the burden back on people who are suspicious of black teens?
Well, I think we need an honest conversation about race. The tragedy, and my prayers and my thoughts are with the family of Trayvon Martin. This tragedy will happen again. Whether we want to say it or not, it will happen again unless we have an honest conversation about race. This is racial profiling at its worst. It's happening all across this country. It's happening to young black men every single day, walking through white communities, walking through black communities, walking through mixed communities. So I think that we have to have an honest conversation about race, and white people, frankly, have to come to the table and be honest. I'm privileged. I'm white, I'm a man, I'm American. I'm privileged. I know I'm privileged. I don't have the same experiences as Corey.
And Corey, just if I can end this with you, are the kinds of things that your parents said to you, never do, these rules, are you passing them down? Will you pass them down to your own children? Do you think that's still necessary today?
I am a father. I'm a father of a daughter, but to some degree, yes, I will pass them down. I think they will be informed by my own personal experiences, which are a little bit different from my parents, but those lessons have already begun.
All right. Thank you very much, both of you, for being so candid. Corey as well as Michael. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Suzanne.